Hello Substreamers, and welcome back to Substream News, your guide to the weird, the wonderful and the wild from the world this week. And I hope your day is going better than mine, because I almost just lost my life to an idiot driver who nearly hit me for no reason. If your day is going better, I can make it even better by telling you that the future of software development may be powered by good vibes. Yes, let me explain. For years, coding, programming, software development, it's been all about precision. You can climb higher as a developer by being really precise with clean, accurate, good code. Well, we're now seeing a move in completely the opposite direction. It turns out you actually don't need to be very good at code at all. You might not even need to know any code at all. And that's what vibe coding is. What you have now is tools like Claude and ChatGPT and various other LLM AI chatbot kind of Gen AI tools that can create code based on English language inputs, or perhaps other language inputs too. So you tell it what you want and it will give you the code to make it, and then you just put it in the terminal and go for it. That's vibe coding. It's just surrendering to the algorithm and allowing it to just run free with the code that it produces. Now, of course, you will come across errors in the code. That's normal. All you have to do is copy and paste the erroneous part of the code, send it back into the AI and say fix this, and replace it with the new code. That's it. That's vibe coding. I think it's really cool, but I also don't think it's going to be super useful, because I think we need precise code for all the best applications. But I have a quote here from Andrej Karpathy. He's a former OpenAI researcher, and he actually coined this term vibe coding, and he's getting a lot of attention for it. I have a quote. He says, "Give in to the vibes, embracing exponentials and forgetting that the code even exists. You just say stuff, run stuff, and copy-paste stuff, and it mostly works." He says, basically, you describe what you want the program to do in plain English to an AI like ChatGPT, or using a tool like GitHub Copilot. The AI translates that into actual code. If there are errors, you feed the errors back to the AI, accept the changes, and hope for the best. It's a bit like asking a genie for a wish, but instead of gold, you get a working program. What's the big advantage here? Basically, anyone could build applications. I've had ideas for applications, but I don't know any code, except from a bit of HTML I picked up when I was designing my MySpace profile about 18 years ago. Apart from that, I can't really think if I know any code. You might, but you might not. And if you don't, have a look into vibe coding. It could solve a massive problem for you and allow you to lower the barriers of entry to build your big application. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. Substreamers. AI's impact is spreading at a much faster rate than any of us could ever have imagined. You probably know that because there's people like me shoving it down your throats, talking about AI all the blinking time. Well, that's because it is taking over the world, but not yet in a Terminator sense. Not yet. For now, what it's doing is taking over our intelligence. In a sense, it may actually be reducing our intelligence, and that's the findings of a report from Stanford University. So let me tell you a bit about this research. Stanford researchers analysed over 300 million texts. Wow, they must have a lot of time on their hands. From consumer complaints to press releases to track AI writing adoption. They used statistical analysis to spot patterns suggesting AI involvement, even if individual AI detectors aren't reliable. Why would they test so many things? Basically, what they were doing is they were taking all sorts of text from all parts of society to figure out who is using AI more. What they found is low income or lower socioeconomic areas, poorer neighborhoods, poorer people, to put it bluntly, using AI more. That's not a bad thing. What that means is people have realized they can use AI to level the playing field. That's good, that's equitable, that's maybe not fair to those who took the time to learn and study, but it's reality, right? So the team compared different word choices and sentence structures before and after the launch of ChatGPT to see if it's had an effect on the English language, and it has. Just a few percentage, not as much as you might think, just like 3%, but I think that's actually fantastic. I'm a student of linguistics, and I'm doing a bachelor's in that, and I'm really fascinated about how language evolves and changes. And I've been saying this to my peers and my colleagues and even lecturers. You don't realize it yet, but give it a couple of years and people will start talking like LLMs. It won't improve our language, it will alter it to the point where we start to sound more like the chatbots. Perhaps the chatbots don't start to sound more like us. That is my proposition. That's my thesis. Who knows if I'll write that one day. But they did find that AI assists in writing in up to about a quarter of professional communications. Now that's pretty impressive considering OpenAI is like 2 years since it launched. The shocker is, less educated areas believe that they can leverage this tool to help with their professional communications. Look, more power to them. I'm a big fan of that. For now though, we need to move on to the next story. If you do want to read more about this research, go down to the video description. As always, we always share our sources, and you can smash subscribe while you're there. Let's go. Oh, guys, staying on the AI theme, and it turns out nowhere is safe from the grasp or the touch or the caress of AI. The latest industry or business, or what is it? It's a broadcasting company. Anyway, the BBC is getting heavy into AI. Well, how does that affect you? Trust me, it will. Big changes are coming to BBC News and all other parts of the massive BBC ecosystem, which is like 10,000 journalists plus loads of different platforms and tools. It actually is a huge umbrella, loads of stuff falls into that. But now they're creating a new department focused on growth, innovation, and of course AI. The goal is to personalize content using AI to reach younger audiences, especially on TikTok, which is where the BBC hasn't performed too well. They believe that they can leverage AI to boost those numbers and fight, I suppose, to stay relevant in this digital landscape that changes like every quarter. It's really hard to stay up to date, which is why you need to subscribe to me, because it's my job, it's my hobby, my passion to find the news every week about this stuff and report it to you for free. What a guy. Look, think about AI curated news on your phone, right? It knows what you're interested in, it learns you, it learns your taste and preferences, and then creates content, feeds it back to you. That's a new kind of journalism, that's a new approach, and I think the BBC could be onto something, but first movers advantage. Let me just say about first movers advantage. The BBC may be the first to take this approach, but it may not work. It may be that another company sees what the BBC has done wrong, and then do it better. This is often the curse of having first movers advantage, and often some of the biggest brands you know were not the first mover, they were the second mover. Second movers have an even bigger advantage because they can work on the mistakes of the first. They can let the first company burn through loads of investment funds and projects and people and everything, and then they just do it leaner, smarter, more efficient. So while BBC is trying to deliver a best-in-class experience based on AI, I'm not convinced that it's going to work, but they believe it will align with public service values like accuracy, impartiality, fairness and privacy, but with an AI twist. So what do you think? Do you think the BBC will stay ahead? Because I think they've been losing ground for a long time. Let's move on to the next story. Do you know, some days I look in the screen, I look in the camera, and I feel like I look really old. I think all this technology is moving so fast that it's aging me way faster than I should be, really. I'm only 32, and look at me, a head of grey hair, looking at old face, and I think it's because technology is, especially quantum computing, is just throwing all kind of timelines out of perspective. What a quantum computer will be able to do will kind of warp space and time, or our relationship with it. It will be able to do years worth of work, millions of years worth of work in minutes, and I think that's crazy. But for the last few years, people have been saying that quantum computing is decades away. They might be wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. You may have heard of Jensen Huang. He is the CEO of NVIDIA, and he's now one of the most powerful men in the world because of that. And his company, NVIDIA, the company he runs, has just done a 180, or has it? Here's what happened. They've been saying, yeah, we're decades away, but 15 to 30 years away, maybe coming a lot shorter. Because when he said that, stock went down. That's not good. They don't like when stock goes down. So they're now hosting Quantum Day at GTC to bring industry leaders together in the quantum compute chip GPU kind of space, right? The processing chip sector, let's say. And analysts are looking at this as really a breakthrough moment. It's pure speculation, of course, but they think, why would NVIDIA be hosting this day if they haven't made a smashing breakthrough? Because Microsoft just made a smashing breakthrough. Other chip processors will make smashing breakthroughs. I think NVIDIA's found something, clicked something, made a big breakthrough, and they're gonna pull that timeline from 15 to 30 years, perhaps down to 2 or 3. It's really hard to predict how fast technology moves because, you know, historically, each timeline gets a bit faster, right? And now we're into this point where technology is just doubling so fast in months, and it's really, really bizarre. Now, what do you think? Do you think NVIDIA's being smart here? Do you think they're hedging their bets to perhaps maintain stock price, perhaps increase it a bit after what happened in the last week, which was absolutely bloody for stock and crypto markets? Or do you think they're actually going to announce something big? I'm kind of leaning towards the latter. I think NVIDIA's done something here, and I'm really curious to see what it is. So stay tuned, because if it is a big news, I will have to report it in a subsequent video. Substreamers, let's move on to the next story. If you want to read more, link in description. Let's go to the next story. Oh, substreamers, it's getting a bit hot out here in the park. It's a swelterer of a day. We're in a heat wave. So I've come out here to release my stories and my news and my words to you, but also, it seems, my sweaty bodily fluids. So enjoy our lighter final story, and it's one quite apt because it's about nature. It's a very earthy story, and it's about mushrooms, which is great because I am a fun guy. Yes, I'm sorry, you can switch off now. No, guys, so Czech researchers, yes, the ones in the Czech Republic, have discovered a new kind of building material based on mycelium. Now, I know that mycelium's been used for insulation for eco-friendly homes for quite some time, but to use it as the primary building material for houses is a new concept. Nobody's really been doing that, but it is a sustainable alternative to other materials, right? to some of the harmful plastics. Anything that starts with poly, basically. It uses the root system of the reishi mushroom mixed with wood and cellulose. Super interesting. It's biodegradable, has a lower carbon footprint, and is surprisingly versatile. Let me step aside so you can have a look. Here's a lovely picture. And it's fire resistant, customizable, and what they've built here is a prototype, 3.5 meters by 7 meters tall. That's a huge wall. Now, it's not ready for all construction, and it's probably going to face some kind of red tape from EU's massive bureaucracy, but who knows? They believe that its best application will be for camping sites, for glamping, for creating temporary housing. I think very cool idea. I'd love to see more things like that. And guys, that's it for this week. Guys, substreamers, ladies, everybody, anyone who's watching, all 5 of you, it's been a pleasure to host. And I have to reveal, this is episode number 97 of our long form videos. We're approaching episode 100, and we have something special planned for that episode. So keep watching, keep subscribed, and wait, because something cool's coming. Right. That's it. I'm off to go shower. See you next time, substreamers.